Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Yevamos, Parak Dalet, Chapter 4, Mishnah Yud, Mishnah 10. Hayavama, a woman who has fall to Yibam. Her husband died, he didn't have any children, and now she is bound to her brothers-in-law for Yibam, or for Chalitza. So Hayavama leisachleitz, this woman should not have Chalitza done, nor she should have Yibam done to her, until 3 months after her husband dies. This is something we already had before. We wait for 3 months after her husband dies to see maybe she's pregnant from him. Because if she is pregnant and she has a child from him, there won't be a mitzvah of Yibam. So you certainly don't want to do Yibam too fast, because if it comes out that she was pregnant from his brother and there was no mitzvah of Yibam, that means he cohabited with an erva, with someone that carries the punishment of karis. So therefore, clearly, Yibam you don't want to do until you know everything is clear. But why not do the Chalitza? If you're not doing Yibam anyway, then just do the Chalitza. Doesn't hurt, seemingly. The answer is that based on the pasuk, we have a rule that if a woman, the woman gets Chalitza is done to a woman after there was a choice given to the Yavam to do it. I mean, if the Yavam had a choice to do the Yibam, and then it came out that and then he decides not to do the Yibam, then we do a Chalitza. But we do a Chalitza only after there is a situation where the Yavam, the brother, had the choice to do it. And in this case, he doesn't have the choice to do it, because to do the actual Yibam, because he has to wait for 3 months. And therefore, even though there are situations where we know, what we've had already, that a woman can't have Yibam, but she has Chalitza, that's in situations where there's nothing we can do about it. She can't have Yibam. There is let's say, a rabbinic prohibition to marry her. We've had a lot of examples of that. All right, so you can't do Yibam, then you just got to do Chalitza. You're not going to say stuck forever. But in this case, where the whole point is you're waiting for 3 months for the Yibam, then the Chacham and the sages say, wait for the Chalitza also, because Chalitza is supposed to follow after a choice, when there was a choice to make Yibam, and the choice wasn't made. Now, the Mishnah continues, not in cases of Yibam anymore, but other examples of where, before a woman remarries, wait for 3 months. V'chein kol shara noshim. So to any woman who wants to remarry, lo yisarsu v'lo yinasu, they should not have erisin done to them, they should not have betrothal done to them, v'lo yinasu, nor should they marry, meaning go to the chuppah and go into a full marriage, until 3 months have passed. If you don't wait until 3 months have passed, then we don't know if she becomes pregnant. What did she become pregnant from? Was she pregnant from her first husband? Or was she pregnant from the second husband? If we wait for 3 months, then we'll see if she's pregnant. And then we'll know she was pregnant from the first husband. But if you don't wait for 3 months, then there'll be the possibility of her becoming, you could run into a situation where she gives birth after 9 months after being married to the first person. However, perhaps she's really giving birth at 7 months from the second husband. So because we don't want to get into that kind of situation, we tell the women to wait for 3 months. Now, the Mishnah says this applies to any woman. Any woman should not have erisin done. She shouldn't go into erisin, nor should she go into nisuin. She shouldn't have betrothal, nor should she have a full marriage. Now, you may ask, why not have erisin? Why not have betrothal? She can't live with her second husband just because she had kedushin. She can only cohabit with her second husband, after the chuppah. So don't do the chuppah, and you'll solve all the problems. Let her do erisin. She's not going to cohabit with her second husband, and then we'll see 3 months later, or whatever it is, we'll see is she pregnant from the first husband or not, and then she can go ahead and get married to him fully, and there won't be any more confusion. But the Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah says no erisin or nisuin. And the reason for that is because according to this opinion in the Mishnah, basically the sages said across the board. We don't want to make any kind of distinctions. Across the board. Anyone who wants to remarry, wait 3 months. Because if we start making distinctions, this one, yeah, this one not, it could come out that a woman who should have waited won't wait, and we may run into problems. So therefore, not only can they not fully get married, can they not have nisuin, meaning go to chuppah, which would then lead to a regular marriage, but not even just Arison, which typically, but about Arison, there's no permission to live together. They don't live together, so therefore there should seemingly be no problem. But the Chacham didn't want to make any distinctions, so that's why it says all women, no Arison, no Nisuin, no betrothal, no full marriage until 3 months have passed after her either divorce or becoming a widow. Now, and this applies, says the Mishnah, echad besulais ve'echad beulais. Whether we're talking about virgins, a woman has never cohabited, whether we're talking about a woman who has cohabited, that's a beulais. Echad grushais ve'echad almanis. Whether we're talking about a woman who's been divorced, whether a woman has been widowed. Echad nesuais ve'echad arusais. Whether their marriage ended after nesuin, after chuppah, or after just erusin, after betrothal. In all these cases, we say a woman should not remarry until after 3 months, either after 3 months after the divorce or 3 months after the death of her husband. Now, it's interesting to point out that the Mishnah has 3 cases, right? You've got virgins and non-virgins, divorcees and widows, ones that were completely married, one only betrothed. The 2 cases of virgins and not virgins is really the same thing as the women who were betrothed or married. Yeah. Because if she was just betrothed and it was her first time, then she's a virgin. And if she was nesuais, that means she went to the chuppah, then the assumption is that she's not a virgin anymore. So therefore, in essence, we don't really have 3 cases here. When the Mishnah said whether it's a virgin or not a virgin, that's really the same case as how do you have that? The answer is you have that because when she became widowed or divorced, it was only from erusin, only from betrothal, and she'd be a be'ula. She would not be a virgin if she had been fully married before the divorce or the becoming a widow took place. All right, so that's the first opinion of the Mishnah. First opinion of the Mishnah is any woman wants to remarry, no matter what, you got to wait 3 months. Rabbi Yehuda says, Hanasuais yisarsu. If this woman had previously been fully married, and then either she was divorced or widowed, yisarsu, let her get betrothed. What's going to happen when she gets betrothed? Nothing's going to happen. They're not allowed to cohabit anyway at that point. So there's no confusion. There won't be any confusion. Va'arusais, and the ones that were only betrothed, which means that the assumption is she never cohabited with the previous husband. Yinasu, let them get fully married. Why not? They didn't cohabit with the previous husband. It was only betrothal. So why not let them get married? We don't have any concerns. Meaning, according to Rabbi Yehuda, we don't make this across-the-board thing. In situations where we don't have to be concerned with any kind of confusion, if she marries a second husband, that there's going to be a problem with not knowing whose child it is if she's pregnant. If there won't be any problems with that, then don't worry about it. Then go for it. And that's why he says, if she was previously married, let her just get betrothed. Because just betrothed, she's not going to cohabit with her second husband. And if for her husband, when the marriage ended by the first husband, she was only an arusa, she's only betrothed, which means she didn't cohabit with him, then let her get fully married now. Chutz, ben arusa Rabbi Yehuda. The exceptions Rabbi Yehuda is the women who are betrothed who lived in Judea, the section of Eretz Yisrael called Yehuda, Judea. Mipnei shliba gasba. Because in that situation we say that the chassan, the groom, or that the man is very familiar with her. He's comfortable with her. What does that mean? It means like this. In Yehuda, they had this very interesting practice. And that is that they would actually have the chassan and kala, meaning the aris and the arusa, the woman and the man the woman with the man who betrothed her, they would have them go into seclusion. Why? She should get comfortable with each other. So when it comes to the night of the wedding, things will go smooth when they have to cohabit for the first time. So we have them actually going in private together with each other in order to get comfortable with each other. Well, if that's what they did, perhaps things may have gotten too comfortable. And therefore, an arusa in Yehuda has to wait 3 months. If she's not in Yehuda, there's no concern that maybe she cohabited with her previous husband. But if she was an arusa in Yehuda, then we have to be concerned maybe they did cohabit, and therefore that arusa will have to wait 3 months before she can get fully married. Okay, now Rabbi Yossi says, "Kol anashim yisarsu." All women may be betrothed. chutz min almana, except for a widow, mipnei ha'ibol, because she's in a state of mourning. Meaning, according to Rabbi Yehuda said, Hanesuais, the women who were previously married, fully married, and then either divorced or widowed, or divorced or widowed, Yisarsu, they can have Erisin done. Why? Because they're not going to cohabit with the second husband. Now, but what if this widow, she's still in a state of mourning? She's Toch Shloshim. She was in the first 30 days. That means she's in Avelis. She's in a state of mourning. Can she get betrothed then? So Rabbi Yehuda didn't make any distinguishing. Even if she's in Avelis, she can get betrothed. Rabbi Yossi says no. If she's still in a state of Avelis, if this woman as a widow is within her first 30 days, which means she is observing Avelis, she's observing mourning, then no erisin is done on her. So the only difference between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda is the fact Rabbi Yossi says that although you can allow a woman who was once married to get betrothed right away, not to wait for 3 months, but that's only if she's not in a state of Avelis. If she's in a state of Avelis, she's in a state of mourning, then you don't do it. Okay, let's continue with the Chofetz Chaim. Okay, so the Chofetz Chaim said that when he's discussed previously that if you are part of a group that is speaking Lashon Hara, you can't get away, the Chofetz Chaim said, well, do your best not to listen, not to believe, not to listen, not to enjoy, not to show any kind of approval to what's going on. He said that's only talking about when you joined the group and they weren't saying anything wrong. But if they were already speaking Lashon Hara, or you know that this is what they do, and you join the group anyway, then already there's no permission to say, well, it's too difficult for me to get away, and I just won't pay attention, or I just won't believe it. At that point, you have to leave. And he says, and all the more so, if let's say you join the group because you want to hear what they have to say. And on that he says like this, all the more so if he intended to listen to what the group is saying, then his sin is too great to bear. That's the wording that's used. And above in heaven he shall be inscribed in a memorial book. He'll be inscribed as an evil person who speaks Lashon Hara. You don't want that on your record upstairs. As we find in the Medrash called Pirkei Rebbe Lezer, the chapters of the Tana of the Mishnah sage Rebbe Lezer, which was really in the tzava, in the will that he left for his son. And he said like this, B'ni, my son, do not sit amongst the groups who speak badly of their friends. Because when they say those words and those words go up to heaven, they are inscribed. And anybody who was present and participatory, even if they didn't say anything, but they went to hear what's going on, they are inscribed there as a group of evil, and those who speak Lashon Hara. And there a person has to make sure to stay far away from these kinds of groups. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
One question.